Welcome on the bold topics and I am Anand Main. Ambedkar believed that once the British Raj recognized the depressed classes as a separate minority community like the Muslims, they would get political power and consequently legal rights of equality and social justice. He therefore asked that the depressed class be legally recognized status as a minority community and system of separate directorate for choosing their representative to legislatures be introduced. For this purpose, he submitted a memorandum to the Indian Statutory Commission, which was set up by the British government in 1928. In 1930, the British convened Round Table Conference for Administrative Reforms. Ambedkar was nominated by the British government to this conference for representing the interest of the depressed class in India. In the conference, Ambedkar claimed a separate minority status with rights for separate electorates for the depressed class. Ambedkar gave the evidence in a written statement to the Francis Committee on 27 January 1990. He pleaded for communal representation, saying that the communal representation was a device to ward off the evil effect of the division. By the words evil effect of the division, he clearly meant the evil effect of caste and untouchability. He further stated that the interests of the untouchables can be represented by the untouchables alone. It is their own interest to annihilate caste and none else can truly voice them. The British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald readily accepted Ambedkar's demand and announced it in the Communal Award of 1932. He was of the opinion that the untouchables should be regarded as citizens. According to him, citizenship means a bundle of rights such as personal liberty, personal security, right to hold private property, equality before law, liberty of conscience, freedom of opinion and speech, right of assembly, right of representation in a country's government, and right to hold office under the state. Urging the depressed class to participate in the politics and legislature of the country, Ambedkar said, I am in a situation in which Tilak was once placed. As long as the opponents curse me, it is taken for granted that my work for you is on the right lines and is justified. During the last 2000 years, never was such an attempt made to annihilate untouchability. The untouchables are now convinced that the demand for Swaraj and the cause of the Hindus will suffer for want of support from the depressed class. What the Hindus do for you is not out of charity or mercy, they do it for their own welfare as well. The mission of our movement is to fight out tyranny, injustice and false tradition and to undo all privilege and release the harassed people from bondage. Our cause has gained recognition because of our ceaseless struggle. Addressing untouchables women, he said, never regard yourself as untouchables. Live a clean life. Dress yourself like the touchables ladies. Never mind if your dress is full of patches, but see that it is clean. None can restrict your freedom in the choice of your garments and in the use of the metal for your ornaments. Attend more to the cultivation of the mind and the spirit of self-help. Ambedkar recommended to the Minority Committee of the Round Table Conference that the depressed class couldn't consent to subjecting themselves to majority rule in their present state of hereditary bondservant. Before the majority rule is established, their emancipation from the system of untouchability must be an accomplished fact. It must not be be left to the will of the majority. The depressed class must be made free citizen entitled to all the rights of citizenship in common with other citizens of the estate. Ambedkar's rights. In slavery, the master at any rate had the responsibility of feed, clothes and house the slave to keep him in good condition lest the market value of the slave should decrease. But in the system of untouchability, the Hindus takes no responsibility for the maintenance of the untouchables. Untouchability is not only a system of unmitigated economic exploitation, but it is also a system of uncontrolled economic exploitation. That is because there is no independent public opinion to condemn it, and there is no impartial machinery of administration to retrain it. There is no appeal to public opinion for whatever public there is. It is the opinion of the Hindus who belong to the exploitation class and such as favor exploitation. The communal award was a great trump for Ambedkar. However, Gandhi saw it as a sinister imperialist designed to weaken the main base of the freedom movement by dividing the Hindu community. He, in protest, struck first undo death to save the unity of the Hindu society by preserving the system of joint electorate for all Hindus. The whole country was anxiously waiting for a positive response from Ambedkar, who was in a dilemma either to yield to the moral appeal of Gandhi or stick to the political gains that he had achieved for the scheduled caste. Ultimately, he agreed to give up the claim for a separate electorate for the scheduled caste and consented to retain the system of joint electorate along with the other communities of the Hindu society. Ambedkar took the decision not because he accepted the argument of joint electorate, but to stop the attacks on his own people in various parts of India. There was before me a duty which I owed as part of the common humanity to save Gandhi from sure death. I responded to the call of humanity and saved the life of Gandhi by agreeing to alter the communal award in a manner satisfactory to Mr. Gandhi. Till that time, Ambedkar was looked upon as a sectional leader of the depressed class only, but after the Pune Pact, everybody expected him to play the role of a national leader by joining the mainstream of the national movement for India's freedom. However, Ambedkar thought it to be more prudent to rely on the gesture of the British Raj for changing the interest of the scheduled caste. Although his policy was not wholly supported by his own community in recording their verdict in the general election of 1937. Ambedkar might have been criticized for showing an obsession on issue pertaining to the interest of the scheduled caste, but he could never be accused of not being a true Indian and a genuine nationalist. He was arguing for considering every citizen of India as equal, negating the social status in India based on caste.